Previously on Gears.
So now the thing is, we've had a week or so to digest some of, unfortunately it must be said, the most atrocious broadcasting skills I have ever seen, and that is of this new television station. Now, I'm not here to try and mock you for my own cruel pleasure. More to say that I'm disgusted at your destruction of what I believe is a quality craft, and a very proud craft, and that is broadcasting. This channel, and many have said perhaps it's a viral campaign to try and get people to watch this channel, and then one day they're going to just sit there and go, oh, okay, now we've got your attention, let's do things properly. If that is the case, then whoever these people are who are broadcasting and presenting on this channel must be the best actors or actresses I've ever seen. Because I don't believe that somebody could just do what they're doing the way that they're doing with such brilliance unless they were taught that way. What we have seen since Wednesday, when this channel launched, is abysmal broadcasting, shocking sound, very average graphics, very poor reporting on news stories, and an overall shambles and misguided direction by, I'm assuming, nobody in charge. The news doesn't make sense. There's no kind of uniformity to it. They'll jump from a story that is happening in South Africa to a story that's happening in Syria, and then from there they'll go back down to Cape Town, and then they'll throw in a sports report somewhere in between, and then they'll go back to some kind of news. There's no structure whatsoever in this news channel whatsoever. I've been trying to watch because I'm watching it from a broadcasting perspective and not much else. Besides the fact that unfortunately it does get humorous, it's very sad now. It's beyond funny. It's actually extremely sad, incredibly embarrassing, I think, for us as a nation, for those who are presenting, and for the blight it puts on other broadcasters who take their jobs incredibly seriously and try and be as professional as possible. Out of all of the shows, I've only seen one person with an earpiece, and that was Arthur Mofokati, who was doing a sports show, which he basically had his earpiece in the wrong ear because all you could see the whole interview was his earpiece.
They had that this morning again.
All right, and there was no structure to his show. He had some guy from a newspaper in on the show, and he basically said, great to see you here. It's so nice you've got all of the stories. We'll talk about this. What should we start with? And I was going, you're the anchor. You're the person who's meant to be guiding us as the viewer as to what's going to happen. It is so shoddy. There's no preparation whatsoever. For the rest who don't have earpieces, I'm very, very concerned about this, because if you are trying to do something, and believe you me, live television is not easy. There are mistakes. Things do happen. And that is the beauty about live television. It's not a question of just staring into headlights like a deer. It's the ability to recover. But the problem is if you don't have an earpiece and a good director and a good producer telling you what's going on, you are going to look, unfortunately, really, really poor on TV. The fact that I was watching a news report with some lady holding some apparatus in her hand, looking as though she had a gun pointing at me, is ridiculous. I'm assuming it was a teleprompter device so that she could move whatever has been typed out for her up and down. Now, I'm not one who's used to using teleprompters, because what I do on television, we don't use teleprompters. But usually, when I have used a teleprompter before, I've had a person who will sit there, and beforehand I will go through the teleprompter with that person so that they will know the pace that I can read at, and therefore scroll the teleprompter at my kind of speed so I can read it properly. So I'm not entirely sure. I haven't seen the setup at this TV station. I don't know how they're operating, but it is dysfunctional. It is abysmal. It is shocking. It is disastrous. There is no spokesperson for this channel. Nobody has come out and said anything about it besides the fact that this company has come and said, has taken down all of these videos on YouTube because of some kind of copyright. I'm not too sure. And you know what? It doesn't really matter because it's just enough now. What this does is, unfortunately, the rest of the world who is watching this sits there and goes, that is the caliber of broadcasting in South Africa. And I think that is incredibly unfair on those who are in broadcasting, who have been there for a very, very long time, who take pride in what they're doing and make sure that they do the best that they can. Of course, mistakes happen. It happens all over, whether it's CNN, Sky, SABC, DSTV, you name it. Every single channel in the world has problems. It's not as though there is a perfect channel. It's the question of recovery. It's the question of preparation. It's the question of having pride in what you're doing. And somewhere along the line, this channel has got it all completely wrong. I don't understand why they are even on air.
And people saying that the marketing people behind ANN7 have deliberately made the presenters mess up. I'm sorry. You wouldn't do that to get viral attraction.
I cannot believe that somebody would sit there and let their dignity be ruined.
No.
By going and sitting and saying, okay, yes, let's make as many mess ups as possible so that people start talking to us. I find that if that is the strategy, I would be appalled that number one is the strategy, and number two, that somebody would have their own dignity and self-respect destroyed purely to try and get some kind of numbers.
But if that was the case, they wouldn't take clips off certain places.
Well, I'm not entirely sure what or how they've gone about it. There is another point that I think has to be mentioned, and that is that the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa, together with ICASA, have a mandate to ensure that what is broadcast in terms of news is accurate, is factual, and has a certain level of professionalism about it. Surely the BCCSA have got to be watching this and have got to be very, very concerned about the content that is going out, the delivery that is going out, the way that it is being presented. And I would not be surprised if there are some broadcasting complaints, inquiries that have been posted by the public. And I would hope that people would. Not just about the shambolic way that people read or the use of the teleprompter, but of the actual content that is going out on this channel. The other point is, and this is a very, very important point, is none of these people that I've seen on this channel are 15 years old. They all seem to be relative adults in the sense they must be in their 20s, and I would assume some of them have, or most of them, or all of them have at least a matric certificate. There must be others that I think who do have journalist degrees or diplomas that are employed by the station. And let me say, some of those who are out in the field are actually not bad. And I say that and commend them for that. Some of those who are out in the field who are doing the stories, whether it be in Alexandra or in Diepsloot or wherever they're doing the stories, are actually not too bad. But those who are presenting, who are the face, and don't have the ability to read words, unfortunately, I think this is a very poor indictment on the education levels that we have in this country. If a person cannot read properly in whatever language they are asked to read in, then we have a major, major issue. They don't know how to pronounce words that one would assume they have come across in some form of life. These are not complicated words. These are just normal words. These are normal cities or names of people that are in our daily scope of just living. It's not as though you're going to a thesaurus to go and find very complicated words for people. They don't know how to say the names of towns. They don't know how to, say the names of ministers. It is shambolic that these people have been given this opportunity to become broadcasters and are failing so miserably. It is incredibly worrying, and I really hope that either the BCCSA or DSTV, as the channel that is putting out this channel, somebody and something has to be done very urgently. Either they need to close this channel immediately, pull everything back, get experienced people inside, train people how to talk to camera, train people how to write news, train people how to spell. I mean, is it that bad? If you can't spell, surely you shouldn't be in the job. It's very simple stuff. This is not sitting and saying you need a PhD. You just need the basics and get the basics right. They haven't got a clue even what the basics of broadcasting is. It is incredibly embarrassing and incredibly worrying that this is now what we are having to accept as being a standard in broadcasting in South Africa. I really am incredibly sad at what I'm seeing from ANN7, and very, very disappointed that no one has actually come out from them and actually sat and maybe apologized to South Africa and the rest of the world for what is, unfortunately, abysmal news network.
Weekdays from 12 to 2 p.m. Central African Time.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Gears with Sasha Martinengo on balls.co.za.